Olá, pessoal. Boa tarde. Sejam bem-vindos a mais uma aula do nosso curso de Neurociência Cognitiva. Então, bem-vindos a uma tarde de neurociência, uma tarde de amor, né? Vamos ver como é que o nosso cérebro vê o amor aqui. Então, bom ver que tem muita gente já aqui. Alguém aí já estava olhando aqui na lista? Diz que é 18 horas a frequência, na lista de frequência, né? Diz que a aula é 18 horas. Não se preocupem com isso, tá? Na divulgação foi divulgado que era 2 horas e, enfim, sempre passa uma coisinha ou outra nesse negócio aí da frequência. Mas, de fato, é uma pequena falha aí, mas não tem nada de errado. A aula é agora, uma aula internacional sobre amor e neurociência, e eu vou chamar aqui o nosso amigo, professor José Aparecido. Boa tarde, professor. Muito
Boa
obrigado
tarde,
pela sua
Givaldo.
presença novamente aqui no nosso curso.
Eu que agradeço e agradeço a todos os participantes, ou aqueles que têm acompanhado de perto o nosso curso. De fato, como você mencionou, internacionalizado e globalizado. Alguns escreveram na tela que hoje é um dia especial, é um dia, talvez, para se apaixonar. E alguém afirmou, o amor existe. Eu sempre digo, se alguma coisa existe, ela existe em certa quantidade e deve ser mensurada. Eu acho que nós veremos hoje com o professor Rinne, da Universidade de Aalto, na Finlândia, que vai falar sobre o amor e o cérebro, ou a neurociência do amor, e certamente vai dizer aonde se localizam os diferentes tipos de amor no cérebro. Se você me permite, eu escrevi algo baseado no material que encontrei sobre o professor Rinne, Pärttyli. Ele fez o seu primeiro mestrado na Academia de Teatro. Ele formou-se como dramaturgo em 2007. E perto do final dos seus estudos, ele e sua esposa se apaixonaram. E ele começou a perguntar o que fazer da vida dele. Ele teve uma forte experiência de que as coisas mais importantes da vida estão relacionadas ao amor de uma forma ou de outra. Ele decidiu se concentrar em compreender o fenômeno do amor. Começou a estudar filosofia teórica e, durante o mestrado, passou a focar no problema ou nas questões acerca do amor. Em comparação com os séculos anteriores, o estudo do amor entrou em declínio no século XX. As emoções eram consideradas superficiais e vagas, e o amor não era levado muito a sério. Durante ainda os seus estudos de mestrado, algumas pessoas na universidade me deram a entender que meu tema de pesquisa era de alguma forma ridículo ou frívolo. Ele fez o doutorado sobre a concepção de amor de Immanuel Kant pela Universidade de St. Andrews. Ele explorou a história da filosofia a partir da perspectiva do amor. Ao mesmo tempo, ele publicou um romance, uma coleção de ensaios sobre as origens do amor. Além da pesquisa, ele tem uma segunda carreira, que é a elaboração de roteiros para peças teatrais e correlatos. Ele ocupou cargos de pesquisa de curto prazo em Kaliningrado, na Rússia, na Universidade de Helsinki e na Universidade de Colômbia, em Nova York. A partir de 2019, ele conheceu o professor Mikko Samis, que é professor emérito de Neurociência Cognitiva que acabou de lhe expandir os horizontes e ele ficou extremamente entusiasmado com a possibilidade de combinar amor e neurociência no mesmo estudo. Entre outras coisas, medimos experiências corporais e atividades cerebrais relacionadas aos diferentes tipos de amor. Ele menciona que estuda o amor há mais ou menos 15 anos, bem como outros construtos psicológicos que enquadraríamos dentro das emoções positivas, como o amor próprio para si próprio, a benevolência, a gratitude e outros construtos dessa ordem. Ele conclui dizendo que não crê que exista uma definição única de amor, mas o amor, por exemplo, possibilita criar coisas novas e novas conexões. Algumas outras universidades tiveram uma atmosfera mais fechada ou de medo, mas ele não sentiu isso quando ele começou a se mover ou iniciar os estudos na Universidade de Aalto, na Finlândia. Então, ele sente que nessa universidade há uma abertura à interdisciplinaridade e à intersecção entre ciência e arte, o que significa para ele que pode haver um amor benevolente institucional naquela universidade. Professor Rinne, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Souza and Professor Aparecido, for this very kind invitation to give this lecture. I want to say especially first a thank you to Professor Aparecido for this presentation that I don't speak your language. Basically, I don't understand anything. But since you were talking about me and my career, I felt that I understood everything that you were saying. So I thought this was a very kind and respectful presentation and introduction of my work. So I'm very grateful and delighted for this introduction that you gave.
My main works were you love to study love.
Yes, that's right. I think that's the best introduction maybe that you can give. So maybe I will just start then, since I don't have anything to add to my introduction. So I'll share my screen and we'll get to business.
Let's see. Share your screen again, please. While you are sharing, I will talk with the audience a little bit.
Yes.
Pessoal, então, como vocês já sabem, a apresentação vai ser em inglês. Então, logo após a apresentação, eu vou colocar as legendas que o próprio YouTube gera, tá? E quem quiser fazer pergunta, pode fazer pergunta em português, que a gente também traduz o professor Rinne sobre a pergunta de vocês, tá bom? Obrigado. Deixa eu colocar aqui. Professor, everything is okay. I will remove my image from the screen, and you are free to start. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And can you see now the title slide?
Yes.
So you should all see the title. Well. Yes, great. Yes. So the topic of my talk today will concern the neuroscience of love, and I will start with a disclaimer. As Professor Aparecido explained, my career has been mostly in philosophy, and my training is in dramaturgy and script writing and academic philosophy. So I'm not a neuroscientist by training. But for the past few years, I have been collaborating closely with neuroscientists at Aalto University, sharing this common common pursuit of understanding the neural basis of emotions and especially love, which has been the focus of my career for the past 10 or 15 years. So today, what I would like to do is I will first give just a very brief introduction to the concept of love, basically a problematization. I will not give a definition or an account, a comprehensive account of what I think about love, but rather I will problematize the concept. And then I will go through two studies through which we have been trying at Aalto University to answer some perennial questions related to love. The first study is called Body Maps of Loves, and the second study is called 6 Types of Loves, Differentially Recruit, Reward, and Social Cognition Brain Areas. So this will be the structure today. So I've been puzzled about love and what it is for a very long time already. And as I said, I don't have a definition, but clearly we are dealing with a very fundamental phenomenon, which, as we know, and as will become clearer and more precise during the course also of this presentation, we are dealing with a biologically rooted set of phenomena that also have definite psychological and cultural influences. And the concept of love, understood as partially also linguistically mediated, is not static. It's a dynamic and variable, and the concept changes also according to historical and cultural environments and linguistic communities. I don't believe, as some analytical philosophers are trying to find through their reason, trying to find these sort of necessary and sufficient conditions for different concepts, also called essential definitions. So I don't think that this type of approach is very well suited for understanding love. And I mean, depending on context, love can be many different things. It can be construed as a feeling. It can be understood as a relationship between different beings, or it can be a type of action. Typically, when we speak of loving actions, we are talking about benevolent, altruistic, or unselfish actions. And what I think is really interesting about the concept of love, that it has so many different dimensions that on the face of it don't have seem to have very much to do with each other. So think of like romantic love, for instance, which has this sexual component, and then a phenomenon like altruism for strangers, and both are called love. And I think that's pretty weird and not easily understood. Why are we using the same word in these different contexts? So this is very puzzling to me. If we look at different languages, it's also striking that many languages use the same word for affection or intimacy in familial relations, that is, between lovers, parents, and children, but also in relation to transcendent entities like God, and also for this type of idealized or normatively prescribed relations or actions towards outgroup members. Some examples include the Hebrew word ahab, or the Sanskrit word bhakti, the Pali word metri, or the Chinese word ren. These are variants of the English word love. In Finnish, we have the word called rakkaus that serves all these functions. Or the Portuguese or Spanish amor. So we can have amor not just for the sweetheart, but also for the God. And please excuse my pronunciation, but we can have also amor ao próximo. So neighborly love. So what's happening here? This is a basic puzzle for me. And we also know that something like romantic love has been found in practically all cultures on planet Earth. So these types of questions puzzle me. If we look at how these types of questions have been previously approached in human inquiry for knowledge and wisdom, we see that what philosophers and humanities scholars often do is that they divide love into these different subtypes according to the object or the quality of feeling of love. And from this perspective, we can speak of things like self-love, erotic love, romantic love, parental love, sibling love, love in friendship, love of humanity, Christian love of neighbor, or love of God. But on the other hand, if we look at how research has been pursued in psychology and neuroscience, mainly thus far, when psychologists and neuroscientists speak about love, they are talking about an attachment relationship normally, or a feeling of attachment connected with desire and caregiving. And this is really important. Normally, psychologists and neuroscientists associate love particularly with pair bonding or care for offspring. And most of the neuroscientific research previously has focused on these aspects of love. The situation in psychology, I think now is changing. For instance, in the work of Barbara Fredrickson, she construes love as this kind of emotional and behavioral positivity resonance between individuals, and understood like this, love can manifest in any interpersonal relationship, including in interactions between strangers. And then if we ask lay people, that is non-scientists, non-philosophers, how many types of love are there? This is a study that Beverly Fair and her colleague Russell did in '91. Lay people will say that, okay, love is especially related to one's closest interpersonal relationship, but there can be like 100 different types of love. So lay people can list many different types of love that philosophers and scientists normally do not list. Okay. We have this kind of like epistemic situation in the community of inquirers pursuing understanding of love, and we clearly still lack empirical knowledge of how all these different types of love are experienced as embodied feelings, how these experiences are related to one another, and how they are mediated by neural activity. Okay, so the first study in this field of inquiry that we did with my colleagues at Aalto University is a study called Body Maps of Loves, which was published last year in a journal called Philosophical Psychology. So what we did here is we took this broader conceptual approach on love, and combined it with this state-of-the-art self-report methods. We investigated how 27 different types of love are experienced as embodied feelings. We don't claim that there are 27 different types of love, that this taxonomy is somehow necessary. We just wanted to give, in a way, a broad brush of many different types of love. There could be 25, there could be 100. What we did is that we included types, firstly, types of interpersonal love that we know, based on previous research, are highly prototypical and commonly used within English and also Finnish linguistic communities. So we did this in Finnish. And then we also included less prototypical love terms, denoting love for non-human objects or a quality of love, but such terms that are nevertheless well known and used routinely in philosophical and Christian theological literature. So before going to our most recent fMRI study, I will briefly summarize the results of these experiments that we did. So we did 3 online experiments with Finnish subjects, where we measured firstly how subjective feelings of different types of love are topographically embodied. So where in the body these feelings of different types of love are felt. Then we measured how different types of love are associated with self-reported emotional valence. So how pleasant or unpleasant they feel, how strongly they are experienced in the body and in the mind. So the salience of experience, how closely they are associated with touch, how often people experience these emotions, how well they are able to control them. And thirdly, we measured how similar these different types of love feel. So here is sort of our basic image of the first results of the first experiment. So in this experiment, the subjects were asked to paint using their computer mouse inside these blank silhouettes of human bodies, where they feel bodily sensations when experiencing given type of feeling of or emotion. So basically, what the results show. So here, the maps are ordered basically according to the sum of the statistically significant t-values in each map. So we call this measure the embodiment strength. So it basically indicates the order of the maps indicates how much people on average painted in each body, and the lighter the color in a region is, the more likely it was that people were painting a lot in that area. And what we find is that these most prototypical types of love are related to interpersonal experiences of love are experienced more widely across the body. So this is one basic results. And the embodiment strength wanes or becomes weaker when we move from love in closer interpersonal relationships to more abstract types of love, or love for more distant others. So passionate love is the most strongly experienced, and love for strangers basically one of the weakest. And interestingly, all types of love were experienced in the head. We don't know what explains this, whether people were painting the head because there was cognitive processing involved, or whether they really are experiencing also pleasant sensations in the head when thinking about these loves. Maybe they have pleasant thoughts in the head. Okay, but so we get this kind of scale from stronger to more strongly felt types of love to more weakly felt types of love. And this is a very important basic finding when we later look at the brain scans. Okay. In the second experiment in this body maps of love's research, the participants were asked to evaluate each of these love concepts using a slider on the computer screen. We asked them to evaluate how strongly does this type of love feel in the body, how strongly does it feel in the mind, how pleasant does it feel, how much can you control the feeling, when did you last experience the feeling, and how strongly do you associate it with bodily touch. So there's a lot of information here, and I will not go through it in any great detail, but just to sort of summarize the key takeaways. What I think is very important, with across these types of love, there was a very high correlation between bodily saliency, mental saliency, valence, and touch. So the more strongly a type of love is felt in the body, the more strongly it also is felt in the mind, the more pleasant it is, and the more strongly people associated with touch. So these correlations were very high, and that's the basic maybe the basic key takeaway here. In the third experiment in this study, the subjects were asked to arrange the love types, again represented as words on the computer screen. Their task was to draw the words on the screen with the mouse in such a way that the types of love that they felt were more similar to each other were placed closer to each other. And those types of love that were felt to be dissimilar to each other were placed further away from each other. And we then ran these results through this two-dimensional, multidimensional scaling clustering algorithm, which seeks for cluster patterns in this type of data. And we find that mainly these different types of love based on subjectively experienced similarity, they cluster into interpersonal love and love for ideas and non-human animals based on how similar they feel. And we can also see, if you look at the top right-hand corner, that what you find there is this more sexual and romantic types of love, and in the bottom right-hand corner there are these non-sexual or non-romantic types of interpersonal love. So we can see the interpersonal love cluster also further dividing into these sort of two sub clusters. What I think now, maybe before we go to the fMRI studies, I would also like to point your attention to the green dots, where we have love of nature, which we also studied with fMRI, and love for non-human animals. So they belonged in this experiment in the same similarity cluster, which was different from the interpersonal love cluster. And I think the results when we look at the brain images are very interesting also in this respect. Okay. So what we did with the body maps to sort of highlight how little previous research has been done in this area, we basically provided the first mapping of embodied experiences associated with different types of love. We see quite clearly that these different types of love form a continuum from strongly to weakly felt loves. And based on these results, also in harmony with novel emotion research dealing with subjectively experienced emotions and emotion categories and emotion taxonomies. So we suggest that love, understood as a term, a linguistic term which names some embodied feelings, can be viewed as this sort of hypernym or a superordinate for this sort of fuzzy emotion category, such that different types of love form an open and indefinite set of distinct, albeit non-discrete subtypes of continuous gradients of emotional feeling. So they are not necessarily a certain number of very distinct types of love. Rather, there is a fuzzy mess of different types of love, but a fuzzy mess that has this certain order and certain pattern and certain law-likeness in the order of its structure. This study is quite highly limited. Here, big limitation was that we imposed the 27 love types on the subjects. So we didn't choose the types of love on a data-driven basis. And if we included different non-prototypical love types, this could corroborate or complicate our results. Our sample is also culturally and demographically quite limited. There were maybe some hundreds of participants in total. They are all Finns, mostly young adult females in higher education. And it is undoubted that cultural and demographic factors influence these experiences of love. For instance, with this subgroup or this cohort of participants, passionate love and romantic love were rated as the most strongly experienced types of love. Whereas if we look at people who are parents who have children, they will rate that the love for their children is the most strongly experienced type of love. And I hypothesize that if we did this similar type of research in a highly religious community, we would find that maybe love for God might be the most strongly experienced type of love. So it's very important when we talk about love and what it is, we always have to ask who is loving, what is being loved, and in what context. And this can be then a highly subjective matter as well. Okay. We are currently, I will mention before going to the other study that we are currently very interested in replicating or reproducing or reconfiguring these body maps of love's approach to an intercultural or cross-cultural setting. So we would like to do similar research as this, but with comparisons to different cultures and different global regions. So if there are in the audience any Brazilian scientists who would like to do body maps of loves in Brazil with a Brazilian population and collaborate with us in this type of research, please do get in touch. My email, I will show my email later on, but you can get in touch by email if you would like to collaborate on this type of research. All right. So after the body maps of love study, we took the approach to an fMRI environment to understand really what is going on in the brain when people are experiencing these different types of loves, and how maybe these neural correlates of love are associated with, or what interesting things we might be able to see compared to these bodily feelings of different types of loves. So this research was just published last month in cerebral cortex, and I think this is the reason probably that I got this very kind and nice invitation to present. So I will next explain what we did in this study. Okay. So we know, based on the work of Fair and others, and philosophies that I mentioned in the beginning, and our body maps, so that these subjective feelings of love can range from maternal affection to admiration of natural beauty, and considering the plasticity of the human mind and the human imagination and human experience. In principle, anything can be loved, and we also know from previous neuroscientific research and our own research that these prototypical types of love, like romantic love and parents' love for their children, they are psychologically highly salient. So people consider these relationships and the feelings associated with these relationships to be among the most important in their lives, if not the most important. The love for one's children, or the love for one's romantic partner are constitutive of meaning in life. However, very little is actually known about the neural mechanisms of love beyond romantic and maternal types. These have really not been studied. There are some individual studies, but very little. Normally, most of the neuroscientific studies in this field have concerned romanticism, romance, and maternity. So in our study, we used functional magnetic resonance imaging to investigate the hemodynamic responses in the human brain associated with feelings of love for 6 different types of objects. We wanted to include the most prototypical types of love, so love for one's romantic partner, loves for one's own children, but then we further included love for friends, compassionate love for unknown people, an interspecies type of love, so love for non-human pets, and also love for beautiful nature. Why we chose these 6 is, of course, like practical reasons. The fMRI is very resource intensive, and the subjects get tired. You cannot have them there for the whole day to measure 100 different types of love. There's participant fatigue and all these types of things to consider. But what we wanted to include was the most prototypical types, and also we wanted to involve a scale of interpersonal types of love, from closer affiliations to more distant affiliations. So that's why we have the romantic partner, children, then a friend as a sort of in-between or middle category, and then compassionate love for unknown people or strangers. And we wanted, since we know that many people consider their cats and dogs as members of their families, and they feel and express love for their pets. So we wanted to include the category of an interspecies love, to compare this type of love to interpersonal love, and further we wanted to involve the category of nature, which is a type of non-social love, where the subject is immersed in their surroundings. One reason for this was also that in our body maps of loves research, the love for nature was actually one of the most frequently experienced types of love in our study population. And I think this might also be different in another culture, but at least younger Finnish females in higher education very often experience love for nature. So it might be particular to our culture. We don't know, but it made sense to include also this type of love. So we asked which brain areas are activated during feelings of love. Which areas are common to feelings of love for different types of objects, and how do the areas differ based on the type of object? Based on previous research, both in previous neuroscientific research and our own body maps research, we hypothesized that the activation of the subcortical reward system might be a common substrate underlying these various feelings of love. We know this from the seminal experiments of Bartels and Zecchi in the early 2000s, and Aaron and Fisher and others, that these subcortical brain regions, especially in romantic love and maternal love, are activated. These are also same brain regions that are activated in monogamous prairie voles, which is this small mammal, a little bit like mice. So when these little animals are pair bonding, forming attachments with their offspring, the same brain regions are activated. We further hypothesized that feelings of love for different objects might be differentially modulated by social brain networks, so that the sociality of the relationship might also affect how the social brain is activated. And we hypothesized that the degree of reward system activation could be associated with the closeness of the affiliative bond in question. So what we then did, how we conducted the experiment, we had 55 participants, which is quite a lot. It's not a huge number, but quite a lot for this type of experiment. The previous experiments in the neuroscience of love have often included around 20 participants. So this is the largest participant cohort to date in a single neuroscientific study on love. 29 female, 26 male, native Finnish-speaking healthy adults with no regular medication, aged 28 to 53, on average around 40 years old, who self-reported to have at least one child and to currently be in a loving relationship. And the mean duration of the relationship was around 12 years, so quite a long time. And we wanted to include people who are currently feel that they are in a loving relationship and that they are also parents. So we wanted them to have sort of acute first-hand experience of the most prototypical types of love. This was important. If we would do the research with people who are feeling alone and depressed and who don't have love in their lives, the results might not be as clear as with people who actually are currently feeling the target emotion. So as stimuli, we use these sort of short pre-recorded narratives. We call them stories, 3 sentences long approximately. We had always 6 narratives of love per category or per love type. And these narratives depicted loving everyday encounters, always ending with the subject prompted to feel love for something. They were pre-recorded by a female voice actor who was instructed to say these stories or to read the stories in a neutral, natural tone without emphasizing any particular emotion, but not sounding mechanical either. And these stories were then played to the subjects in randomized order through earphones during fMRI. And each story was then followed by a 10-second silent imagery period, during which the task of the subjects was to immerse themselves in the feeling elicited by the story. And then we contrasted the brain activity of the stories with the brain activity associated with these, what we call neutral narratives, which contained no strong emotion. So previously, as emotion induction in these types of studies, photographs have mainly been used. So people have been shown the photographs of their romantic partners or their children, and then that has been the activity associated with looking at these photos has been measured with the fMRI. So here we used a different type of modality, in a way a more naturalistic modality, which aimed to simulate what happens in these loving encounters in everyday life. And I'll just give a couple of examples of these stimuli. So for romantic love, an example story could be like, you are in the laundry room with your partner. They are loading the washer with laundry, and suddenly you remember what a lovely person your partner is. You feel love for them. Story for love for nature could be, you are at your cottage in the middle of the woods. Around you is the greenness of trees. The air is fresh, and the wind blows gently through the birch leaves. You feel love for nature. And an example of a neutral story. You are sitting in the car going to work. The weather forecast on the radio says that the mild weather is not about to change for the next few days. There's not much going on at the workplace either. So these types of stories. Here, what you see is then we similar to the body maps experiments. We also asked the subjects to subjectively rate the stories as aggregates for each category based on their experiences of the stories. So this is not brain data; these are subjective ratings similar to the body maps study. So what you clearly see if you look at bodily saliency and mental saliency, and actually all the categories, you see that romantic and parental love are the most highly rated. They are also the most prototypical types of love. So when we asked people to answer the question of how well does this type of love correspond with your own conception of what love is, romantic and parental love clearly emerged as prototypical. That is probably the key takeaway. We also did this. These are also subjective ratings. We asked them to, in a pairwise manner, to rate how similar different pairs of love are with each other, and through this we were able to sort of determine the subjectively experienced distance to neutral feeling. And there you see that the compassionate love for strangers is closest to the neutral feeling, and romantic and parental love are furthest away from the neutral feeling, and friends and pets are sort of in the middle. So I think these are of subjective ratings, but they offer important and interesting sort of additional insight into what was going on in the subject's mind when we did the brain scans. And here are the you could say our basic results, or the key results in the form of images, brain images. So this this image shows the brain regions activated and deactivated while listening to stories of love. These are on the left-hand side, and imagining feelings of love for different objects on the right-hand side, both as contrasted with the neutral control stories. And what we can clearly see from these pictures is that these feelings of love are differentially modulated by brain areas associated with reward and social processing. So if we look at the interpersonal love types, they all involve areas associated with the so-called theory of mind network, which consists of the temporoparietal junction, the precuneus, and then the midline of the forehead in the frontal cortex. And we also see activation in the subcortical reward system, essentially rostral brainstem, ventral portion of the basal ganglia, the striatum, especially the ventral striatum. And if we just look at sort of eyeballing, now we have, of course, the data in more detailed form documented elsewhere, but just eyeballing the images, you can see that the strength of activation and how widespread the activation is varies according to the strength of the attachment relation in question. So there's a lot more. If you look at the midline of the forehead, for instance, there's a lot more going on in romantic love and parental love as compared to the stranger condition. Also, I think it's worth mentioning when we are looking at these images, more conceptual point that the theory of mind network, or the social brain network, and the reward system are largely, or at least to an extent, but not entirely, overlapping systems. So the midline of the forehead is common to both of these systems. The precuneus is also can be implicated in both. The anterior cingulate cortex can be implicated in both. What is interesting, if you look at the stranger image on the left side, the audio, in the audio condition, the top row of the stranger image, which shows the surface of the brain bilaterally. There are these two big blobs on each side, close to the back of the head. So that is the temporoparietal junction, and there's not really the activation is not diminished in the same way as the activity in the reward system is diminished. I think this is really important to see. So we can say, I think, quite robustly that these feelings of interpersonal love are modulated by activity in brain regions associated with reward, according to the biobehavioral salience of the interpersonal relationship in question. So very similarly to what we saw in the previous body maps experiment, different types of interpersonal affiliation can be seen to form a continuum from closer affiliative bonds to more distant relationships, according to the degree of subcortical and cerebellar activation. So the cerebellum is also part of this scaling. of the strength of activation in these varied interpersonal bonds. Contrasted to the neutral stories, love for pets and love for nature involve much less activation. You see that there's not as much going on. In contrast to the neutral stories, however, both activate, in particular, the anterior cingulate cortex. So again, if you look at the audio condition, the bottom row, pet and nature, the bottom row showing the midline, interior midline of the brain, the blob close to the forehead, the anterior cingulate cortex implicated in both. This region is functionally highly complex and involved in myriads of different functions and debated, but in meta-analytical studies has been consistently associated with reward, social cognition, and salience. What is worth noting about the love for beautiful nature, which we don't see in other types of love, and this my colleague Linda Henriksson, who is a neuroscientist specialized in visual cognition, she was especially pleased about this result. The love for beautiful nature activates the parahippocampal areas, so close to the brainstem, but to on the side towards the back of the head. You see in the audio condition lower right hand corner, and the parahippocampal areas have been associated with certain visual stimuli, particularly viewing landscapes. So I think this is sort of also a sanity check for our work, that it's exactly something that we could predict when we tell them, the subject stories, that they are in these beautiful natural environments, that the visual areas associated with viewing landscapes should activate. So I think that's beautiful result. Then briefly about the imagery condition. So the activations we found during the imagery period, mainly similar, but very much weaker in the audio condition. In particular, the temporal and parietal lobes deactivated across types of love. When we think of the remaining activations, we can maybe think of them as representing the mere imagined feelings of love for the objects, so discounting the naturalistic phenomenological context of the audio narratives. But very clearly, the audio condition results are much more robust. Okay, and then what was super interesting, just by coincidence, we didn't control for this, but by coincidence, half of our subjects were pet owners and half were non-pet owners. So we had around 27 participants, both who owned pets and who didn't own pets. So we were able to make decent statistical comparison between these two groups. And we didn't find, in all the other conditions, we didn't find any difference between these two groups. Nothing was statistically significant. But in the love for pets condition, we found a significant difference. So this image shows the brain regions that were activated more strongly in pet owners than participants without pets in the love for pets versus control contrast. The activity in pet owners was significantly higher in the precuneus, or the posterior cingulate cortex, the posterior superior temporal sulcus, inferior parietal lobule. So this is the temporoparietal junction, and parts of fusiform and parahippocampal gyri and hippocampus. But what is the key here is the precuneus activation and the temporoparietal junction activation. which are part of the signature of the theory of mind network. So we can say that for participants who have pets, for them, love for pets is neurally more resemblant of interpersonal love than for participants without pets. I think this is a very, very interesting and exciting finding. Okay. So to conclude, our results show how neural activity during feelings of love depends on the object. Interpersonal love recruited social cognition brain areas in the temporoparietal junction and midline structures significantly more than love for pets or nature. In pet owners, love for pets activated these same regions significantly more than in participants without pets. Love in closer affiliative bonds was associated with significantly stronger and more widespread activation in the brain's reward system than love for strangers, pets, or nature. And on this basis, we suggest that the experience of love is shaped by both biological and cultural factors which originate from fundamental neurobiological mechanisms of attachment. And I think our research offers, in a way, insights into why we feel stronger affection for those we are close to compared to strangers, even though basically the brain processes for these interpersonal relationships and affective relationships towards living beings are very much the same for all relationships. This, I believe and hope, might also help to explain why religions and philosophical traditions such as Christianity or Buddhism speak of compassion and benevolence towards others as neighborly love or loving kindness, even if these feelings are less intense than the love we have for our dear and beloved close loved ones. These results also support the view that these different types of love fall on this kind of fuzzy continuum where the romantic love or pair bonding in biological terms and parental love or parental care are the prototype cases, and then these compassionate love or interspecies love and these more abstract types of non-social love, they resemble the prototypes in varying degrees, dependent on these different biological, cultural, and subjective psychological influences. What I think is what we are now starting to understand better and corroborating is that from the perspective of functional neuroarchitecture, this wide complex network of different types of love actually emerges from and builds on these neurobiological attachment systems that are not particular to humans, but that are systems with long evolutionary histories and that we share with other mammals. So I hope also that our research and our results can in a way highlight our connectedness to the great kingdom of life. Thank you. Now there is something.
Thank you, Professor Rinne. My microphone was off. Now it's okay. Thank you very much. Great lecture. Professor, we have many questions about the chat was on fire during your lecture. Many questions, many debates about love.
Great.
I would start with this question. Is in Portuguese, but I will translate it to you.
Yes, I don't, unfortunately, I don't speak any Portuguese. So.
Okay, no problem. Andrea is asking, would be possible a human being without love, without possibility to feel love?
Is it theoretical? Sorry, what is the question?
No, is it possible to be someone that has no feelings of love?
It is a very difficult question, and maybe a question that a clinician or a therapist might be better suited to answer. So a little bit outside the scope of my expertise, but I think maybe these people who suffer from psychopathic disorder, or who lack the mechanisms of empathy, or this sort of shared feeling with others. So I would guess that, and I don't know the mechanisms of developmental psychology well enough to speculate on whether this could be sort of from birth in a way deficiencies in the neuroarchitecture, or whether certain networks have been damaged during early periods of development. But as a philosopher, theoretically, just based on the fact that I do not always feel love, I suppose that this could generalize in a way that there might be an individual who does not have feelings of love for others, but this is a theoretical proposition, and is not based on any empirical insight. It's a very difficult and interesting question, and so this is a very long way to say that I don't know. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Mauricio asked about cyber love. Could you tell us something about it? Is that a American move named Her? If I remember,
I think I know the film. Yeah, where the person falls in love with the AI.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting, and we also know at Aalto University we are interested in measuring love in virtual environments, and if we think of the emergence of these empathetic robots now being tested for healthcare and this type of things, I think it is very possible that a person might benefit psychologically, and their subjective well-being might benefit from feeling love for a virtual agent, and the AIs are getting more powerful as we speak, and interacting with them might be difficult with them to sort of differentiate the AI from a real person. So yes, I think the cyber love will become a thing in the future more and more.
Yeah. We have a question here, just to finish this first moment of question. Priscila de Medeiros, does love alleviate physical pain?
That is also a complicated question. I suppose it depends on what kind of love is in question. What is the cause of the physical pain? and what is the context in which there is love. But I mean, I would guess these are very interesting empirical questions for which I don't have actually answers, but I think it just based on my own experience and now speaking as a philosopher, this is not a data-driven response. If I'm feeling, if I have hurt myself or I have physical pain because of mental sort of how should I say, mental difficulties or mental anxiety or this kind of thing, the loving social touch can alleviate that pain. So if we think of love, at least if we think of love as this positively balanced social touching, I think that might help to alleviate physical pain, and or knowing that someone cares for you when you're in this situation of bad pain. But maybe would require a little bit more defining to really answer the question.
Thank you. Professor José Aparecido, would you like to talk with us?
Givago, eu entendo que você tem uma lista enorme de perguntas, mas então
tá bom,
vou
então.
ser rápido. Não, vou ser rápido.
Tá certo.
Professor Rinne, thank you very much for your great lecture. Magnífica.
Thank you.
We speak in Portuguese. Congratulations. Thank you very much. In addition to the different types of love, it is possible to measure or to assess the intensity of each type.
Sorry, could you answer? I'm not sure if I heard the question
okay.
properly.
In addition to the different types of love, it is possible to measure the intensity of each type to assessment. How about the intensity of each type of love?
Right. So how would you operationalize or define I'm not sure intensity in which dimension?
Magnitude.
Do you mean? I'm not
I
sure.
love too much. I love a little bit.
Right. So I think we had these metrics of like how strongly you feel it in the body. Is that the same question or a different question? What would be?
No, it's the same. Scaling.
Yeah.
Okay, between 1 and 10, for example.
Yes, I think that is what we try to do with these different dimensions. Is in a way to measure the intensity. So how strongly you feel it in the body, how strongly you feel it in the mind. So we do have these metrics, but if with intensity or magnitude you have in mind a different question, it would be very interesting. I always try to, if we measure like subjective experiences, the key thing is to think about how do we operationalize this as a question that we could ask the research subjects to answer. So that would be the key here, if what you are after is something different than what we already asked them. But basically, I mean, you can measure anything. You just have to very carefully define the questions. Maybe I'll just answer a little bit more longer, because we have been accused that we are crazy when we are trying to measure love in the first place. People have told us that, look, you cannot measure love. Love is mysterious. It is beyond science. It is something completely different, or it is so vague and unclear that it cannot be measured at all. So we have been accused of this, and we are trying to normalize the science of love. We are saying that, look, this is very important phenomenon, but just one phenomenon among many, and we can measure it like anything in the world.
Please, how universal is the romantic love?
That's a great question, but we know from these studies in cultural anthropology done in the 1990s that these types of like sexually motivated longing and wanting to be close to the other and thinking about the other, these types of feelings exist in every human culture, basically. So 200 different cultures were investigated, and they all have these types of. So romantic love is universal. Some European cultural historians say that romantic love was invented in Central Europe in the Middle Ages, and that is not the case. Romantic love is something that is found in practically all cultures all over the world. But these different types of love, how universal they are, we don't know, because they have not been measured yet. And this is something that we want to do in the future, to do more this type of cross-cultural research into this more wide area of the types of love.
Talvez, Givago, você possa acrescentar que há colegas manifestando interesse em trabalhar ou fazer projeto em conjunto com ele.
Yes. Professor Aparecido was talking about, during your talk, you said something about Brazilian researchers cooperates with you to study how the Brazilians love, and
this would be very
maybe
interesting.
we have some friends to contact with you to check this possibility of cooperation. Would be great.
That would be really cool. We have not started. We are in talks with some universities in East Asia, planning the right kind of setup and talking slowly maybe what we could do together. But it would be great to do this like in different cultures. So if there are people who are interested in and have resources, please do get in touch by email, and we can just casually have a talk and see if we could do something together.
About this, the feelings of love around the world, there is a question of Creuza Aparecida that says that we Brazilians, we are lovely and warm. Would be because of the weather, could influence in our way to love is different from in the other parts of the world.
That's one theory. That's a very interesting topic as well. There was this one study that compared like how well people are willing to accept touch from strangers, including this kind of hugging from strangers or people outside their immediate group. And interestingly, Finnish people, we are in the north, so it's very cold. So the climate hypothesis would predict that we don't hug very much, and we are not this type of touchy-feely culture. But compared to Italians, we are more prone to hugging. So the Italians are less like this. So the climate hypothesis is very interesting, but there is at least some evidence that puts that hypothesis under question. But again, these are really, when you really go into the details, these are highly difficult questions, and you have to do a lot of research to properly answer them. But this is just sort of a funny counterexample to that proposition.
Okay, thank you. Great. There was a very hot debate in the chat during your lecture that I think Laura talked about when we fell in love, we are more susceptible to love too much and be susceptible to be manipulated by others. You see, I would like your opinion about this sentence and more. Between the types of love, is there some type that make us more susceptible to addiction?
Yeah, great questions, great and difficult questions. So I think we know from psychology that especially during the early stages of falling in love, we idealize the loved one, and it is a kind of addiction, that phase, the falling in love. There's also some evidence from Bartels and Tsekis earlier research that at least they claimed that in these feelings of romantic love and parental love, certain areas of the social brain network were deactivated in contrast to viewing pictures of friends, and their interpretation was that maybe we are in this closest love relationship, we are looking in a way at the loved ones through these rosy lenses, so that we are less likely to make negative moral assessments of their behavior. Think of the football team. If we think of love of our favorite football team, and there's this, like, something happens, it's a little bit unclear what happened. It was the other team's fault. We were in the right. It was not a penalty. This shows that love, these intense warm feelings for something, they make us biased to make biased evaluations. I'm not sure if that directly answers the question, but at least it's highly related to the question.
I have one question that almost in every lecture we have in our course, I find some places to talk about children. I have a kid now, a baby now, and then I live this experience to have a son, the love of a father, the love with a partner, or love for other things. Is there some kind of love, or some type of love more important than other for our social life, or uh, for our life? Is there some points or some evidence of this is more important? The children, the love for children, the love for partner, the love for some ideology or something.
That's very interesting, and also I think that's the answer will depend on how you operationalize the concept of importance. So important to what or whom. If we think of like importance for the perpetuation or the survival of the human species, then the love for children is very important, because that basically it keeps them alive, that we love them and we care for them, and it enables this species to continue its existence on the planet. So it's highly important. But then if we think of, from a subjective perspective, someone might not want to have children at all, or they might not have a romantic partner. For them, the love they have for their friends might be the source of meaning in life, and might be the most important. Or a priest, someone who has dedicated their life for religious practice, and have very little social connections outside the religious group. For them, the personal relationship with the deity or the transcendent being might be the most important. So I think the importance will be highly subjective. For me personally, it is the children, the love for the children that is the most important.
Yeah. So to finish our talk, I have a question from a neuroscientist to other neuroscientists with philosophical background. Okay. And how
Yes.
about the Platonic love? How to study Platonic love in the brain?
I think Platonic love is non-sexual friendship, right?
No sexual friendship.
Yeah, yes. So you could say that I think we did it. Our love for friends condition is the platonic love. If by platonic love we mean that it is a relationship, a reciprocal, mutually benevolent relationship between friends who don't have a romantic relationship with each other. But maybe the person who asked the question has something other in mind when they use the word platonic love. But the way I have understood what platonic love is, that it is friendship. So I think we measured that in our study.
Yeah. Oh. So thank you very much, Professor Rinne. We really appreciate it. At least I really appreciate it. I think our audience also. And let's see some cooperation with you and Brazilian researchers. We have contacts of many psychologists and neuroscientists that would be very, very glad to cooperate in this kind of approach. So, Professor José Aparecido, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your great lecture. I appreciate it very much. Congratulations.
And
thank you.
In the future, we are planning to put together written stuff about our course. If you have interest, we would like to invite you to write some manuscript summarizing this lecture to add to our book for this course.
Sure. Please do get in touch about that, and thank you
Yeah.
again very much for this kind invitation and for your hospitality and friendliness during the discussion. And I really enjoyed this session and had a lot of fun. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, pessoal. Tchau, tchau. Boa tarde, bom sábado, bom fim de semana. Com muito amor, vivam suas vidas aí. Tchau, tchau.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Obrigado, Givago. Bom final de semana.